ghost said, "Speak and I will listen." Take the path east of here, gaze into the pond. The frog knows of a lost forlorn. The frog stared at Embo, its belly rumbling. Its eyes were fixed on Embo, but it seemed to mean no harm. Was this the frog that the fisherman spoke of? Ember could hardly ignore the rumbling from the frog's belly. The traveler said, "Friend, you need a boat. Go see the builder in the caves. Tell them I'm sorry I never came back." The ember was cute. "I'm headed for the... I've heard there's a nest there. A safe place." "If you need help catching anything, you just ask." The travelers, "I miss a good roast frog. Oh, how they crackle." The worm looked helpless, with no way to escape. As Ember picked it up, the worm let out a little yelp. The Wanderer's Diary. Unfamiliar trees, a path overgrown. Is this a resting place? A place between places? I call out, but mine is the only voice. The stranger had never felt that. What does it feel like? Is it nice? It sounds nice. The frog stared at Ember, its belly rumbling. This was not how Ember had imagined the end. The gurgling of water, a deafening heartbeat. But then... the frog returned Ember's good deed by leading them to a lost forlorn. The stranger stood alone. Their friends have fallen aside, retreating from what came next. The stranger had ventured on. Now they were deep in the woods. It felt so pointless. The stranger spoke hesitantly. Is the campfire crowded? Let me gather myself. I'll see you there. Ember found the Wanderer's diary. The oily smell of frogs. They know more than they will say. They watch me watching them. The stranger spoke. You look hungry, friend. You bring any broth with you? There's a cook in the swamp. Makes a broth like you wouldn't believe. Keep telling them that it doesn't taste right. They'll keep giving you more. The ghost said, You have done all you can, little one. Your journey lies ahead. Little one, your journey ahead will not be easy. The path to leave this place is blocked. I will guide others to follow after you clear the way. There are others like me who can help. You will always be welcome here in the forest. Once again, Ember could feel eyes watching. Ember approached the forlorn, but felt it was different. They said, I know what I need to do, what I need to feel. I don't want to be helped. Ember could not help. Not all problems were puzzles to be solved. Ember uncovered a journal entry. Dusk brings the longest shadows. The lanthorn comforts me. Soft melodies from home. The wild things listen. Yellow eyes in graying trees. Do you know where we are? I've been walking forever, lost in the marsh. The two travelers were talking quietly. Yeah, I got so lost in the marsh, you know? Why go anywhere else if it's safe here? Yeah, never having to worry again. The birds scare me though. The guard squawked. Stand back, don't come any closer. The guard was protecting a path down between the rocks. Nothing down there but sadness and turning forlorn. Go see the Forest King. He'll set you straight. The Forest King showed me the way. You'll see there's no need to keep going. He'll make a bird of you. Go get your feathers. The crossroads gate was locked. The guard joked. Another scrawny ember from the forest. And with a bag looking all nicely and shiny, both guards started looking at Ember with a deathly stare. The guard leered. The Forest King would like you, little scruff. Yes, come a little closer. Let us see what's in that bag. We guard the door to the Forest King. Oh yes, we decide who gets to see the king. The Forest King will want to see you. Yes, yes, come this way. A feeling of foreboding overcame Ember. Ember was terrified but tried not to show it. The giant bird spoke softly. Another little Ember. Speak, little one. Do not fear. The bird is a friend. Ember wanted to feel safe. Oh, little Ember, birds won't hurt you. Birds will take another under our wing. Stay safe in the nest, you'll never turn forlorn. Ember was still afraid. Is it the night that scares you, little one? See, night is gone. Day is here. Birds will make the world less frightening. It wasn't only the night that frightened Ember. The bird was disappointed. Stay? No need to help, silly forlorn. Hope is false. Hope hurts little ones in the end. The Forest King spoke so gently to Ember. Perhaps they could rest here for a while. It was hard to know what else to say. Clever little Ember, you will stay. You will not turn forlorn. Search for hope no more. Now take this feather. Feather means Ember is one of us now. Birds keep little ones safe. Birds should never leave the nest. guards seem pleased. I can hold that bag for you. Leave him alone, they're one of us now. Yeah, one of us. And we all shares bags and things. The stranger wanted Ember's attention, being careful not to speak too loudly. You should get away from here while you still can. You can't trust the birds. I've heard there's another campfire in the marsh. Well, that's where I'm going if I can find a way down. The guard squawked. Stand back, don't come any close. Nothing down there. Go see the Forest King. He'll set you straight. Got your first feather, I see. Best prove yourself, Scruff. Stand watch here. Promise you won't let anyone pass. Ember didn't like deceiving the birds. But what choice did they have? They couldn't rest in that place forever. They had to keep going. This forlorn was not the same as the others. The forlorn whispered softly, I know what I need, but I am not ready. I may never be ready. The future is yours, stranger, but mine is mine. Ember left the forlorn with their thoughts. The time wasn't right, perhaps would never be. Ember hurried away from the birds. The mist hung close to Ember, hiding them. The Forest King seemed frightened, the birds cruel. Ember would rather risk turning forlorn than become like them. Ahead there would be others to help, and maybe a way to move on. Hidden away was a scrap of journal. There are memories here, bound in rock. I hear their voices echo in the ancient stone. I find footprints by the cinders, a makeshift camp. The traveler seemed distressed. I'm sure it's fine. They'll be okay. But it's been a while since... It's my fault. The traveler whispered quietly. No matter where I go, I always end up here. No matter where I go, always here. It looked like a map, but pieces were missing. The piece formed a new route. It was the same place as before. But how? In a haze, they said, "You're just like me now, going round and round and round and never escaping." An eerie scene, like a moment frozen in time. Ember found a scrap of journal. I heard them coming. The snap of a twig, a flutter of birds, a figure dashing through the undergrowth. Another like me? Gradually, more of the map was revealed. The fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. A section of bridge had somehow been ripped from its foundations. It was like the map had been broken on purpose. The mist revealed a secret place. Was it hidden on purpose? The stranger spoke. You know, part of me didn't want to be found. They said some things I shouldn't have. And now I'm lost. And it's too late. The skeleton looked peaceful. Held tightly in its hand was a red feather. The statue spoke. Just as it once moved the hearts of the forlorn, the instrument you now hold has the power to move the world around you. Another before you took great effort to hide it deep within this riddle. The lanthorn began to glow. Hidden inside was the Wanderer's journal. Another face at last, a catcher of fish resting by a pond. We work together, silk and tar and aching fingers. My boat floats once more, though I almost wish to stay. Inside was a secret diary entry. Pink, orange, red, brown, leaves gently dancing to the ground. Crunch, crackle, lovely sound, fall into a giant mound. There was one last place to reach on the map. The fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. The fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. The fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. The fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. The fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. The fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. The stranger spoke. I said something, and now I'm lost. And it's too late. The fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. The fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. The fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. The fog was so blinding, Ember was turned around. Ember felt a great relief to be out of the mist. Ember didn't mind getting muddy. The slide was such fun. A sleeping pig. Trotters in the air. They looked happy. The plant looked like it could take a hand off, and it was in Ember's way. The fruit was giving off a sickly sweet smell. The plant looked like it could take, and it was in Ember's way. The plant looked, and it was in Ember's way. Ember chuckled. The dangerous plant was no match for a hungry piggy. The way through was ruined. Muffled by the fog, Ember was sure they heard a rumble. Could that have been a tremendous snow? A hideous odor filled the air. And suddenly, the reason was obvious. The pig inhaled a giant snort of air. Wait, what's that delicious smell? Ember shuffled nervously. Other embers fed me treats, but then stopped. You feed me now. A lost message was inside. The mist is thick. One way blurs into another. Where do I end? Where does the world begin? I cannot see far enough to tell. As the pig chewed, a light grew in its belly. Fruity, fresh, but tastes a lot like mud. But what I want is something with more crunch. The pig would eat anything. Ember just needed to find more. It was junk. Maybe the pig would eat some junk. And with each thing it ate, the light grew even brighter. Surprising, a little sparky, but tingly in belly. But what I want is something with more crunch. Perhaps if Ember could satisfy the pig, they might be more helpful. Ember found a secret note from the Wanderer. Something beckons. This place is not home. I trace the map in my head, recite the older myths. I have to move on. The skull was disgusting. Perhaps the pig would like it. The stranger had come so very far. They felt the air beneath them, the distance ever widening. was such a long way down. A resolve stirred within the stranger. Just a few more steps. It can't be much further. Ember found a lost message. The smell of hot broth and hearty stew wafts across the swamp. By the cook's pot I meet another. They are on their own path, but we promise to meet again. Ember came upon another campfire lost in the wilderness. It looked long cold, but ready to be lit. This was the last thing Ember could find to offer. Crunchy, embery, not much meat, bit too bony. But what I want is... The pig's stomach made an almighty sound. Ember chuckled with relief at the large creature they had been so afraid of. Through the mist, Ember could feel they were being watched. Inside was a scrap of journal. In the orchard, I meet the stranger from the cook's fire, a stranger no longer. Together we fill their satchel, food and memories for the road ahead. The stranger knew they had to move on. The path behind was forever closed. They tried so hard to see it all. To leave now seemed unbearable. The stranger stared past Ember. I'm almost ready. Let me sit a little longer. I will catch up. I promise.